All right, picture this. You're at a coffee shop for an open mic. You're really nervous and you're really anxious. But as soon as you step on stage and see those faces, that anxiety is replaced by a wave of calmness and willpower. Suddenly, you're in flow and nothing can stop you. No distractions are stopping you. But as soon as this calmness starts, it ends just as fast. You don't know how it happened or where it happened, but you're happy it happened. This is what we like to call in the industry flow state, or the zone. So what is flow state? Flow state is a mental state of complete focus. You're completely enthralled and engaged in this one activity, in this one task. It requires a high skill, high challenge balance, in that an individual that has a certain skill level needs to be met with a task of a similar skill level in order to enter flow. How does this work? What do you need to get into flow? You need three things. You need clear goals, immediate feedback, and the challenge skill balance. In regards to clear goals, we'll use an example. Let's say we have a soccer player that is told to get on the pitch and run a specific play in order to score a goal. This individual is going to be much more likely to enter flow than an individual who is simply told to play well, right? When they get on the pitch, they have to decide what playing well means in that moment, moment to moment. That individual is going to have to put way more mental resources into that as opposed to someone who can put those mental resources just into running the play. They're going to be more likely to enter flow in that regard. It's going to be easier. With immediate feedback, essentially it's so that an individual can adjust and change their behaviors to match the task at hand. So if a programmer were to be writing code, they'd be way more likely to enter flow if they're told when they make mistakes and how to improve them in the moment, as opposed to somebody who is told 5 minutes after they make their mistake, or if they're told when they don't have the right feedback to actually change their behavior. That person's going to be way harder to enter flow. Lastly, we have this challenge skill balance. Let's say we have an artist. If you told this artist to draw circles on a notebook for 2 hours, they're not going to be engaged. They're going to be bored and they won't be able to enter flow. But the other side of that coin is if you were to ask that artist to recreate the Mona Lisa, they're going to have a really hard time and they're not going to be able to enter flow because they're so anxious about this task. So it's way too high of a challenge, so they also won't enter flow. You need a balance between the two. So why even enter flow in the first place? Flow state has a lot of beneficial experiential outcomes. We have intense concentration in the task. We have a merging of action and awareness, in that your entire awareness is focused on this one task. You have a loss of self-consciousness. You have a sense of control in the task. You have a distortion of temporal perception. And finally, you have autotelicity, which is essentially intrinsic motivation, a desire to complete this task for the sake of completing it, no other reason. So what is the mechanism behind this? Attention is the driving force behind flow state. Two particular concepts: selective attention and attentional control. Selective attention is essentially our ability, or the process of directing attention to relevant stimuli and filtering out irrelevant stimuli. This relates to the spotlight model of attention, in which the brain can actually change your focus to relevant stimuli as if with an actual spotlight, right? Next, we have attentional control, which is essentially how we use this to our advantage. It's a top-down process in which it is goal-oriented. The brain uses attentional control to change your selective attention to goal-relevant or task-relevant stimuli, similar to how a conductor can manage an orchestra to create a good piece. Next, we're going to talk about attentional networks. This is kind of the mechanism under attention that allows us to pay attention to things. So when attentional networks can synchronize, this causes that total immersion effect where you feel completely engrossed in this activity. We're going to use a soccer team as an analogy. So first we have the alerting network. That's the first network in the attentional networks. This is similar to a goalkeeper, in which you're reacting to novel stimuli in focus of achieving this goal. Next, we have the orienting network, which is like the playmaker. You're making plays in particular regions, and you're essentially orienting your attention, and you're orienting the focus of the play in specific places based on the context. And then lastly, we have the executive network, which is the big boss. They handle the situation and they solve conflicts, and this is the manager. They're ensuring everything is going smoothly, and they're making calls and they're calling audibles when necessary. Lastly, we have this challenge skill balance, causing this sense of effortlessness. When you're in flow state, you don't feel like you're exerting your energy very much, although you're performing at your peak. It doesn't feel like you're performing at your peak because of this challenge skill balance. And this relates to a concept called cognitive control. Let's say you know how to ride a bike. When people ride their bikes, usually they ride a bike on a regular ground, a level playing field, right? That is the baseline level of skill. But if they were to ride on an uphill terrain, that is above their baseline level of skill. So they have to exert themselves, and they feel like they're exerting themselves. This relates to the challenge skill balance. When you have effortless cognitive control, the challenge is the exact same as the skill that you have. So you don't feel like you're exerting yourself. However, if it's above your skill level, you're going to feel like you're exerting yourself. So when you're in flow, it feels like you're not really exerting yourself. This brings us to the final part of our talk. I'm going to show you exactly what flow state looks like through a bit of an artistic thing that I can do. I'm going to do some spontaneous lyrical improvisation. So I need one person from the audience to give me one word that I'm going to include in this freestyle rap. I'm going to go Natalie. Cheese. Okay. Can I get some claps from the audience for a rhythm? Okay, let me count you in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey. PNBTalks, and you know this. Private on the mic, I keep the focus. And you know that I'm rapping. Hey, I don't need no distraction. Where'd the beat go? Where'd the beat go? Listen. And you know it's a cold state. Gotta get into my flow state. And you're rapping with ease. Kinda get the money, so I'm stacking the cheese. Hey, and you nearly know I'm gonna rap. Channel like Joe Kim, Prophet is the cat. Prophet is the greatest rapper ever seen. Feel like a professor, boy, I'm feeling mean. Man, I grab the mic, man, you know I'm a cold state. Talking really about, man, flow state. And you know that I'm on. Prophet on the mic, man, really gonna spawn. And I'm never gonna stop. Prophet on the mic, man, I'm chilling so hot. Let's go. Thank you. All right. Amazing.